This modeling report shows how a 172 scale Lockheed A-12 reconnaissance plane model was made by converting a monogram Revell kit of the Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird. The A-12 was top secret, its existence was only officially disclosed in 1988. The Lockheed A-12 was to fulfill a requirement for an extremely fast reconnaissance plane, started with Project OXCART in 1956. Convair with its and Lockheed competed in the top secret program had. The Kelly-Johnson Lockheed Skunk Works design had a pointed nose and would get anti-radar detection materials and use titanium to resist high drag heat. This design was picked and aircraft were to be built. Maximum speed was in excess of Mach 3, flying above 100,000 feet and range of some 4,100 nautical miles. For the flight tests, the highly secret and unknown site picked for Lockheed U-2 testing was used, Groom Lake, with an upgraded local facility with lengthened runway. In crates, the first Lockheed A-12 Article 121, also called Archangel, was transported from Lockheed's Burbank to Groom Lake February 1962 with J-75 engines. The official first flight was on 30th of April 1962, and a few days later already the sound barrier was broken. The envisaged J-58 engines got installed in the existing A-12 aircraft and over Mach 3 could be flown. End 1965, the A-12 was ready for operational use and all A-12s were based Groom Lake at what later became known as Area 51. First A-12 deployment by the CIA was Operation Black Shield, May 1967. But the 15 A-12s built saw limited use and only in Asia. Some claim also a few missions were also flown over China. The A-12 existence was only officially disclosed in 1988 and 6 aircraft were lost due to accidents. I know of no 172 scale plastic injection kit of the Lockheed A-12. This modeling report shows how a conversion was done to make a 172 scale A-12 model. Some research was done. I could not find accurate A-12 drawings, only layout drawings in older books. The front pilot cockpit station is at the same position of A-12 and SR-71 and it had a pointier nose. After the pilot was the camera cube A. The forward nose gear station, main gear station and thus wheelbase are same as on the SR-71. I concluded that the A-12 is in 172 scale about 22 mm shorter than the SR-71 Blackbird. Earlier, I had found that the best 172 scale Blackbird kit is the monogram kit. This same kit was later released by Revell. I had kit available and that will be converted to the A-12. The basic kit has some inaccuracies, mainly caused by the forward fuselage cross-sections that are too shallow. This also means that the single needed forward canopy for the A-12 pilot is about 4 mm too wide. But it seems that the A-12 had a slightly flatter cockpit top as compared to the SR-71, so the kit cross-section cockpit shape inaccuracy in fact here helps to portray the A-12. Pure coincidence, and the similar fuselage horizontal width seem to be correct of about 51.5 mm. The basic kit will be used, but first all the raised kit panel lines were rescribed. I assume the pattern to be similar as later seen on the SR-71 Blackbird. When inscribing had been done, all panel lines were sanded off. Polish the surfaces to remove scratches with polishing paste or toothpaste. Some additional conversion changes to the monogram Revell SR-71 kit for the A-12 model are now needed. The A-12 had no tail cone extension, so the rear tail cone extension of the kit is changed. A few slices in length were removed with a razor saw to bend the plastic and will help blending in the shapes. The front pointy nose section of the A-12 was now tackled. First at the fuselage halves at both upper and lower shells, some 5 mm at each side was removed. Note that the rear cockpit is not there on the A-12, instead there is a camera systems cube A. Marked with tape and curves meeting the fuselage joint with a razor saw, the slices at the side removed and all sanded for a pointier reshaped A-12 nose. As noted, the width of the forward pilot cockpit hatches per kit needs a correction. The lower edges of forward hatch were sawed off about 1 mm with a fine tiger saw to get less height when bended. The hatch was then bended to a better width of 14 mm. The changed A-12 nose was installed in putty and sanding is needed also inside view to get the pointy nose. The kit main gear tread needs a correction and the main gear legs were set 2 mm more inboard. The overall assembly of the A-12 conversion now needed putty, again, the lower gaps at the chines and a lot of sanding to get sharp edges as seen on the real A-12. The vertical tails were installed set at an angle. I later found out that the raised plates on the tails in front of the rudder are too thick, better sand these flat. Early A-12 made test flights with the J-75 engines. Though not accurate, I assumed the exhaust parts to be almost externally similar to the later used engine exhausts as provided in the kit. They are a bit basic and not fully open as seen on a parked aircraft, but good enough. The landing gear kit parts were not yet installed. The model is now ready to get a first base primer paint coat. As panel lines had been inscribed, it is a good idea to airbrush the standard light gray primer with Revol Aqua 75 Steingrau. Do any repair work on panel lines. Opted was a rather shiny titanium and metal scheme for one of the earliest secret A-12 aircraft flown from Groom Lake in a metal titanium scheme. Alclad paints will be airbrushed and these require a gloss black undercoat primer for which thinned Revol Aqua gloss black was used. Then, the surfaces were polished with polishing paste and a cloth. Then my special trick was used to get two sheens of metal. First some panels were masked with fine masking tape. Then a first coat of Alclad ALC 126 high shine aluminum was airbrushed. When a thin first coat had been applied, the masking tapes were peeled off and then airbrushing continued with the same Alclad paint. This will give different sheens. The exhausts were airbrushed Alclad dark jet exhaust and installed. The A-12 had now gotten its shiny metal coats. Markings and stenciling on the A-12 was probably very limited. So I only added some warning panels at the cockpit sides with decals. The landing gears were installed at the reduced tread. Inside each main gear bay, a small red tire strip was set and some hydraulic tubing made from black stretch sprue. The nose gear was installed as per kit. Note that here the nose tires are tire black. Forward of the nose gear bay are two camera windows of the Q bay. These were drawn with a sharp pencil and suggested with Tamiya transparent X21 smoke paint. The A-12 cockpit interior was painted in medium and darker gray hues. The cockpit instruments and consoles were suggested with spear decals. All was set inside including seat and the pilot control stick. A new shortened A-12 pitot tube was made of about 9 mm long. This was installed on the nose. The A-12 windscreen had no ridge at the front frame, so this was cut off from clear part number 60. The windscreen was fixed with white glue. The improved forward canopy hatch was painted and an actuator jack made from scrap was added as the hatch was set tilted opened up. That completed the Lockheed A-12 model conversion. More details can be found on my website aircraftinplastic.com. I hope you enjoyed this video.